I think that my habits of media consumption are very different from most people, and a lot of people seem to think it's the result of my job, and it really isn't at all. I think I just naturally gravitate towards watching or consuming things as a project. Like, for me, it's very hard to sit down and watch something just because I want to watch it, or because, like, play a game because I want to play that game, because I want to watch everything and I want to play every game. So, like, how do I justify playing this one instead of that one? How do I justify watching this show instead of that show, unless I can make something out of it? And, like, the only times that I do consume something just because I want to, it has to be something fresh and new. It has to be something I've never heard of, and I just go, oh man, what is this? And then I watch it, and then and I just had a fun time. But if I've known about it for a while and it doesn't have that freshness, then it's like, you know, like, I've got all these JRPGs, for instance, and I really want to play through a bunch of them, but how do I decide which one? Like, none of them has more merit than the others, and instead I could play a game that's relevant to a project, you know? And again, this has nothing to do with my job. I've always been that way. I've always consumed stuff in a way that is, like, working towards an end, sort of. Maybe not always, but, like, for as long as I can remember. Like, if I think about my anime viewing habits, it was always like, I want to be able to write a blog post, or I want to be able to expand my knowledge on this certain subject, or, like, I want to see all the show. Like, probably one of the earliest things I can remember, like, in the late 2007 rather, I like, tried to watch every Yuri anime. Like, any Yuri anime I heard about, I would try to give it a watch. And I didn't do it in, like, the same concentrated way that I would do that now, where, like, I would just sit down and watch nothing but Yuri for weeks if I wanted to do that. But, I was just in that headspace of, like, let's watch all the Yuri shows. It wasn't really for any purpose. Like, I wasn't writing an analysis of Yuri anime. I wasn't, like, getting paid to do it. It was just, that's how I consume media. I want it to contribute to something. And I've done that with a lot. Like, right now I'm watching all these 70s and 80s anime, and it's literally for no reason. Like, I just really wanted to watch more 70s and 80s anime, and I figured the best way to do that, because 70s and 80s anime, the hardest thing about it is that a lot of it's super long, and that's why I've never gone back and watched those shows. But then I figured out if I just watch all the movies from that era, then it'll give me, like, a sampling of what those shows were like, and then I can pick out which shows I want to watch, because a lot of the movies are tie-ins to popular shows of the era, and, like, I can just kind of sort things out, and then I can also watch all these important old movies. And so, yeah, like, there's no, like, analysis video in mind. It's just that the best way for me to, like, sit down and watch anime is to feel that it's contributing to some greater whole, some greater purpose. Like, let's watch all of the 70s and 80s shows. And I've got a few things like that going right now, actually, like a few different kinds of projects that kind of work that way. When I was playing, because I haven't been playing as much video games as I was a few months ago, when we started doing Digi and May Do, I got way into games for like 2 months, and it was mostly that I would play the games we were doing on the show. Like, when we stopped recording episodes, I would then go beat the game, like, off screen, and that was what happened with, like, Wario World. I would go back and replay the levels and get 100%. Tomb Raider, I went through and got 100%, Hyper Light Drifter, all these other games. And funnily enough, what kind of stopped it was that we started playing a 2-player game. We started playing Gauntlet. And while I could go back and grind in that game sometimes, it's mostly fun to play with multiple players. So, like, I kind of started being like, okay, well, let me play other games not related to the show when we're not doing the show. So what I did is I went and played Lost Planet. And just because I bought it because it was, like, super cheap, and I was curious about it, because it was a game that I remembered from 10 years ago but never really played at the time. So I played through Lost Planet, and just the fact that I was playing it made me want to make a video about, or make it into a project, essentially. Like, I went and bought Lost Planets 2 and 3 so I could compare them, because they're kind of famously shitty sequels. And I ended up making it this whole thing. I played not only all 3 Lost Planet games, but I then went and bought Dead Space 1 and 3 so I could compare those games. It ended up being this whole project that I haven't even made a video about yet. I might have by the time this gets released. I have no idea if I'm ever gonna fucking do it, because I've been holding on to it for like a month now. But you know, I just got like so inspired to make it like a whole thing, and really it's the fact that I haven't made the video yet that like kind of killed the momentum, where it's like and then me and Hippo decided we were going to do Game Boys, where we'd play through a game, like the same game, we'd both play it and then talk about it. And like, just between like not having finished the Lost Planet project, still playing Gauntlet on Digi in May, and not being really into playing it by myself, and then also you know, having to play another game for Hippo, has really not had me playing any other games in the meantime. And instead I've just been watching 70s and 80s anime movies. But like, yeah, that's just how I am. It's hard for me to get into something unless I see an end goal in it, unless I feel like it's working towards something. And the funny thing is that I will end up watching more than anyone, because of the fact that you know, once I am into a project, oh, I'll watch 1,000 shows, you know? And that's kind of why Finish or Fail exists, is because I would not watch every show that came out in a year unless there was like a greater purpose to it. And like, I had so much fun making the top 20 anime of 2014 that I wanted to do it for every year. And I really missed the boat on 2015. It was just like a complicated year, you know, like I just wasn't in the mindset to do it. And then by the time the end of the year rolled around, I was working on the Astra Score Sucks project and, you know, other shit like that. So, you know, that didn't come together, but I did it for 2016 and I'm doing it for 2017 because like, I appreciate watching all these shows in service of something. Like, it's not just because I want to watch every show that comes out in a year. It's because I want to make a top 20 of the year. I want to find out what was the best anime of every year, you know? Like, that's what my ultimate purpose is in doing all this. So, yeah, like, that's just how I fucking roll, man. I don't know if there's more to say about that.